Welcome back to OU Nightly. A Tennessee man sitting on an interstate guardrail was shot by 9 police officers. Dacoda McDowell-Wahpekeche has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thanks, Dana. The January 6th Select Committee issued 14 subpoenas to Republicans who the committee said were trying to overturn the results of the 2020 election. 14 Republicans from Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, New Mexico, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin have received subpoenas. The letter calls on the individuals to provide required documents on February 11th and to appear for depositions next month. Officers in Pennsylvania responded to a domestic violence call this morning and were shocked to find a man dismembering his girlfriend. 32-year-old Nicholas Scurria was in the process of removing a woman's head as police showed up. After they arrested him, they found many weapons inside the home, including a machete. Scurria faces many charges, and the identity of the victim has not been released. Ukrainian rebels are evacuating civilians away from the combat zone into Russia. This comes after a humanitarian convoy was hit by shelling. The conflict in Ukraine continues after Russian President Vladimir Putin pledges to protect the nation's interests. U.S. and European officials are estimating 150,000 Russian soldiers are on Ukraine's border. An independently owned newspaper in Russia is facing threats after reporting on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In a tweet this morning, the Novaya Gazeta says they are removing those articles. They say they were being threatened with criminal prosecution if they, quote, disseminate information about hostilities that differs from Defense Ministry press releases. The paper's editor-in-chief, Dmitry Muratov, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize last year. Last week, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates for the first time since 2018. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says that the U.S. needs to return to a more neutral monetary policy. This raise is not the last, as 6 more interest rate increases are planned for the year. The Federal Reserve's rates will increase to 2.25%. And a maintenance worker was killed inside a Florida mosque yesterday morning. The suspect, Ahmad Roslan, threw a propane tank through the window to get inside and killed the 59-year-old man with a shovel. Roslan broke into the mosque because he believes he is a descendant of Julius Caesar and thought the mosque was Caesar's home. He then stole the victim's van and fled the scene. Roslan then pulled out his fingers like a gun toward the cops, and the cops then shot their weapons, hitting him 3 times.
He felt that this was his home and the property on the inside was Caesar's property. And his intent was to defend that, even at the cost of murder.
Roslan is expected to survive. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky fired 2 generals last night. Zelensky called them anti-heroes in a nightly address. He said that he does not have time to deal with what he is calling traitors and anti-heroes, saying that gradually they will all be punished. He fired the chief of the main Department of Internal Security of the Security Service of Ukraine and the head of the Office of the Security Service of Ukraine in the Kherson region. Twitter created a provision that will make it hard for Elon Musk to acquire the company. Musk currently owns 9% of the company's shares, and earlier this week he offered to buy the company at $54.20 a share, which is higher than its current share price. The new provision to prevent this is called the poison pill. Twitter's board of directors say that the provision will trigger if Musk gets more than 15% of the company's shares. The poison pill will allow Twitter shareholders to buy more shares of the company at an inexpensive price. Former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez is facing charges of drug distribution in the United States. An indictment from the Justice Department says he teamed up with drug traffickers for all 8 years he was in office, with some offenses dating back to 2004. The indictment says that he helped traffickers funnel cocaine into the United States. Hernandez is facing 3 charges, and he claims he is innocent. Former President Donald Trump says he does not have any documents that he needs to turn over to the New York Attorney General's office. Trump was asked to turn in financial statements that will allow New York's Attorney General to look into possible civil tax fraud. The judge on the case ordered Trump to turn in the documents or be held in civil contempt and be fined $10,000 a day. Trump has appealed that order, but it was denied.